Tuperos y tuperas today on DOOP by the River. Anthony Fontana is now in Italy. We're discussing that move for him. We got some union rumors. And what the heck is going on in Cincinnati? Taking everything away from Philadelphia. We'll also be talking about some of the moves some of the departures out of the MLS. Some big stuff happening within our league. And don't you dare go anywhere, guys, because you do not want to miss this episode of DOOP by the River. And let's get this started, guys. Dale! And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to DOOP by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia. We are brought to you by Philadelphia Network. Before we dive into today's episode, guys, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the Ed Barcelo Phillies YouTube channel as we broadcast all of our lives through there. And, of course, you guys can find us wherever you stream podcasts from Apple, Google, and Spotify. You can find us under PSN Radio, and you can find all of your favorite Philly Sports Hour podcasts on PSN Radio. All right, guys, let me introduce you guys our fellow experts in duping who have not left for Cincinnati yet. And first off, start off with my man, Mr. Justin Balds out of retirement, Freiburg. Justin, what's happening, baby?
We go away for not even a week, and apparently, Philadelphia is located in Ohio, as far as I'm aware now. At this point, should we just ship them the Liberty Bell? Give them some water ice and some cheesesteaks? What's next, Cincinnati? What's next?
We all know they can surely use a better signature food, because I don't know about that Skyline chili, guys. I don't know, but it is some pretty funny times, Justin. Glad to have you back on here, my brother. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, he first off, the jersey behind him, spectacular. We'll get to that in a second. But my man, Mr. Tim Lovingu, what's going on, Timmy?
Not much. Like Justin said, we're into 2022. We thought we'd be talking about, possibly some Union players leaving and not former Union players coming out of retirement to go play for Union West or Midwest, I should say, out in Cincinnati. I saw that message come through while I was finishing up work today, and I was like, Ray Gaddis is coming out of retirement to go play for who? FC Cincinnati. Oh, FC Cincinnati. FC Cincinnati? Really? We're talking about FC Cincinnati. No. I wasn't. No. We might have a rant.
I'm talking about practice. It's practice. It definitely caught us all by surprise. Of course, we'll be talking about all that good stuff here. Timmy boy, I definitely love the jersey. First off, the jersey you are wearing here today. Yes. And of course, we got to show some love to Joel Hans and Bede for all of our 5 for 5 Philly sports fans out there. But of course, the one behind you, Mr. Ray Gaddis as well. That's a clean kit, by the way. The blue, obviously, this year's Bayou kit's inspired by that as well. So definitely a great little addition there, man.
Can't really see it on the camera here, but it is a signed jersey, so that's why I might be even a little bit more hurt, because Ray Gaddis even signed the jersey. Thought he was a one team player, But we'll talk about it. We'll get into it here in a little bit.
Absolutely. But before we get into that, gentlemen, I wanted to discuss first off the first news at hand that happened just a couple days ago. By the way, it's so funny. Obviously, you guys know I stay busy on the TikToks, but the fact that the Anthony Fontana news, pretty much a development started on TikTok from his girlfriend's TikTok account is absolutely brilliant. I want to just start off by saying that. But yes, Anthony Fontana is in fact heading over to Ascoli Calcio in Serie B, 10th place team who is trying to fight for promotion right now. And we're hoping that Anthony Fontana can be part of that fight for them in promotion. But gentlemen, I think we kind of we saw Anthony kind of leave. We saw that coming. The Union did offer a bona fide contract to him and Matt Rial, and obviously he wasn't signing it. And I think the writing was on the wall, kind of how the season ended for him and how 2021 kind of went for him as well. Overall, to me personally, I think this is a fantastic move for him. Serie B and pretty much any second division over in Europe, especially in those top four, Italy, England, Germany, or Spain. it is pretty tough. It's going to test you mentally and physically. So I think this is going to be a great move for him. I think it's going to be the best move overall for him in the future. But I kind of wanted to get your thoughts here, gentlemen, on the move Fontani to Ascoli. Justin, man, let's start it off. How you feeling, man? Anthony balling in Italy?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's a good move for him, and I mean that with all sincerity, listen, he's had opportunities in the lineup, and through reasons we've never been fully clear on, he's just unfortunately gotten the short end of the stick. I think Serie B is going to be an interesting spot for him. I mean, this team is right in the middle of the table. And they do play a similar system. It looked like a 4-3-1-2 as far as I could tell, which would be interesting, and I think he would definitely fit well as that attacking mid. No, I'm gonna be rooting for him. I think it's tough when you see a young player go. I mean, we've seen young players who may not have had the most success here, go on to do some great things. Austin Trusty, after a bit of an up and down Union career, has done pretty well with Colorado. Keegan, after a bit of an up and down few years, has become a veteran stalwart for Colorado as well. Derek Jones, has been serviceable for a few MLS teams. Taylor Washington, was a big part of Nashville, advancing as far as they did. So you always have players. For every Brendan Aronson or Mark McKenzie, you're gonna have a Taylor Washington and a Derek Jones and a Anthony Fontana. It's just how how the nature of the numbers game works. But I'm rooting for him. I hope he does well, and maybe if the jerseys look good enough, maybe I'll get a Fontana Calcio jersey.
I think you're going to definitely want to, and I think you nail it on the head. I think for him, first off, by the way, kudos to him for getting up his value up to 2.2 mil. When I looked at Ascoli personally, like you said, similar tactics. They do run the 4-3-1-2, but I'm assuming the left center and the right center mids are pushing up and down, box to box type of midfielders. But right now they have a central attacking midfielder who's about worth the same amount as Fontana, and my assumption is he's going to go in there and he's going to compete for some minutes with Ascoli, and and hopefully he can show what he kind of showed in 2020. Remember, guys, he had 6 goals, and there was those couple matches where he was the super sub, he was the El Seno at the moment, coming off and having cracking goals after cracking goals. So hopefully he can do that over there as well. Tim, how you feeling about this move for young Fontana?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Justin. I think it was a needed move for someone that just couldn't get a hold of that starting spot. We saw it even back to his first year. He played his first ever game, the opening game of the season back in 2018, and he scored a goal. He scored the winning goal. This kid had promise. Then he got kind of stuck. He got stuck behind Bork Doshkal. He got stuck behind Marco Fabian, and then Brendan Aronson rose up. And then 2022 looked to be, or 2021, I should say, looked to be his year. He was playing as a second striker, which was a little concerning due to the Union's injuries there. And then he gets an injury and he's out for a long time, and then can't crack the squad anymore as the younger homegrowns rose up. Paxton Aronson, Jack McGlynn, and Quinn Sullivan were mainstays on that bench. So he couldn't get back there. And I don't blame him at all for wanting a move where he'll hopefully go into a new club and compete for minutes. I'd love to see him be a starter and be another Union success story, sort of like Justin was saying. Not that high tier homegrown that gets sold off, but one that you still get some money back for, and then hopefully they he gets a hold of his career over in Italy, and he gets to start games and show what he has, because he's a true goal scoring number 10. He was one of the best finishers on the team for a number of years when the strikers weren't that good. So it is it is what it is. And yeah, I'm happy for him. I hope he goes over there and he can get those starting minutes and hopefully help the team get up to Serie A someday here.
Yeah, it's interesting because you mentioned he was a goal scoring attacking midfielder. We've even seen him play as like that holding forward as well up top with another striker. So he's definitely very versatile as well. I guess I'll throw this question to Justin, like because he was obviously part of like the earlier youth academy days, like the Ernie Stewart days, where obviously we had a different philosophy, the 4-2-3-1. Do you think the change of philosophy and tactics for the Union kind of, it wasn't really the right fit for him?
I don't know if necessarily that was it.
Okay.
I think it was just simply that every time he was due for a breakout, you had another breakout player.
Yeah.
Like
True.
Sometimes you could be one of the best players on the team, but man, if someone just keeps coming in and flashing the pan and keeps like producing, it's tough. There are players who have not necessarily floundered, but just kind of stagnated at one club, and they go off to a different club and they excel and they show that they can be a serviceable player, and then they can be a club legend, or at the very least someone who will give you all they got, and they're not going to light the stat sheet, but they're gonna give you all the work that you expect out of a certain position. And I think Anthony's going to give you everything he's got. I think he's gonna pepper the net with shots. I think he definitely is a shoot first type of attacking mid. And so I don't necessarily think it was the change in tactics. I feel like the change in tactics actually would have helped suited him.
Yeah.
If you didn't have the homegrowns coming through. But in the end, I think it was just really, really unfortunate, timing and bad luck. With having so many good young attacking players coming through, like it's a gift and a curse for the Union. Like for as many good young players that you can have come through, you can also have players kind of get fall between the cracks. And Anthony Fontana, for all he did, was definitely one of those players.
No, absolutely. And like you mentioned, I mean, I remember back to like 2019, even like during spring training, like Brennan Aaronson's name kept popping up, and then eventually we all saw what happened in 2019. He kind of took the league by storm. And in 2018 when Ant Count came out, right, like we thought he was going to be Brennan before Brennan. He gets a goal in his first match that he gets in, and obviously the rest is history. Tim, to your point, so in the Serie B tables right now, Ascoli 10th with 26 points. If Serie B hasn't changed, or the Italian football promotion relegation hasn't changed, I'm gonna try my best with this pronunciation, but Cremonese, who's in third place right now, have 32 points. So 6 points separates Ascoli from promotion. So hopefully we could see Fontana and Ascoli and Serie A next season. That would be pretty enticing. We did hear the Venezia. I guess the Venezia has a lot of Americans right now, man. They're about to become an American club themselves.
They're
crazy
at this point.
And if they want Jack DeVries to come up and be that guy, then Fontana would just get blocked by another Union player, and that would be good. So.
Yeah, that would. What's up, AK Game? AK Game checking on in. Chicago Fire signed a center back that will be top 10 best center backs in the MLS next season. I just looked it up. His name is Rafael Cichezos. I'm probably butchering that, and it looks like he came from FC Cologne. So kudos to the Fire. Kudos to the Fire. Don't have to rely on Calvo anymore.
Or Schweinsteiger back in as a center back, getting toasted.
Bring back Dax McCarty.
Bring back Jim Kurt.
Too.
There you go. All right, guys. Let's move on to now some rumors with our Union, but we do have to discuss it, guys. So this came out a couple days ago as well, and of course we have to discuss it from Football Insider. Sheffield Wednesday, Plymouth. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not. And Portsmouth among the 9 teams lining up for Philadelphia Union center back Stuart Findlay. Now, we all remember during the Charlotte FC expansion draft, Stewart's name was thrown around in there. And we all know Stewart was, came out and spoke. He wants to stay in Philadelphia. And you see the kid, you see the guy at Flyers games. He seems like he's embracing this team and the city. So me personally, I am not buying it, especially the fact that these are obviously championship League One teams. But Stewart, he didn't get a lot of playing time. Obviously, when you got Glazes and Elliott balling at the pace that they were last season, it's kind of tough. But I just don't buy that these type of teams are looking for an MLS center back who couldn't really get on the pitch too much. But do you guys think there's any legitimacy with these rumors? Tim, we can start off with you with this one, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. If anything, it could be some representation of Stewart's agency trying to get some things going to maybe see if there is a market for Stewart, because I'm sure, I mean, like any player, he does want to play. He wants to start and he wants to contribute. So, and we saw even in the Eastern Conference Final, like when he's on the field, like he is a very good center back. Like he did a very good job in that game.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, Stewart even said in an interview himself, like if he's staying in Philly, like he's fine with that. He wants to push to be a starter here. If that's, he's under contract here, he wants to push to be a starter here. That's his goal. However, if there's another team that is interested in him and the value is kind of, pushed up a little bit by the agency and maybe by the union, and they want to flip him, then they'll probably do that. If it's in the best interest for the player, the union usually do what's in the best interest for players. That's what it seems like. And yeah, it would be another position you have to fill. Seeing as you'd only have two center backs on the roster, and I know there's some people from Union 2 probably coming and pushing to come up there, but it would kind of be a little risky, I think, for me right now. If I was Ernst Tanner in the Union, being like, oh, we could get some value for this guy, but we do need a quality backup center back that can come in if an injury happens, or if one of these two guys gets called into, maybe something crazy with international call-ups if they keep playing so well. So yeah, I think it's kind of up and down, kind of a roller coaster right now. The fact that his name is out there, though, I think is a good thing. It just drives the union as another selling club. So yeah,
absolutely. What about you, Justin? What do you think about these rumors?
Like Tim said, I'm not really putting too much stock into this. I think if Stewart's going to go from here to a League One team, that seems almost like a step down, at least at the moment.
Right.
Now, from what we've heard, there's gauging interest, at least. Not sure if there's any formal offers, but there's at least kind of monitoring and watching, waiting to see. Which, honestly, if the first half of the year they see how he's doing and they make an offer, yeah, I think it could happen. But I mean, right now, it doesn't seem like Stewart's forcing a move. I think, like Tim said, he's gonna want to obviously fight for his place and get whatever minutes he can. But at the same time, yeah, the team's not going to stop him from leaving.
Yeah,
and if there is a move that works for him and works for everyone, then they'll do it. But I think if that's the case, Ernst will obviously try to line up another center back signing, and I still think Ernst will bring another center back signing unless one of the homegrowns comes in, and really kind of amazes to where they're pushing for more minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of a wait and see, and I think that's kind of how it is with a lot of the players who have rumors for the union. It's if you have a backup in that position, you're fine. If not, maybe you start looking.
Yeah.
But it's it's so early in the off season, even though the season's like a month and a half away. It's it's still early in the window. I mean, the European market, there are not a lot of moves going on right now. Like outside of the some players that have been leaving, it's been fairly quiet in terms of MLS teams making moves, which I mean kind of shows how everyone's in kind of a waiting pattern, and this window could be kind of not necessarily a dud, but it's not exactly. I think you're going to see it ramp up, but for right now, it's just going to be slow as all hell. Like I think that's just how the off season is. When the closer it gets to the season, the preseason, the more signings start to ramp up. So I think we'll see stuff happen in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But right now, I mean, it's as dead as a doornail.
Pretty much, yeah. We have to talk about it, but I think the majority of us agree. Like, Stuart's probably going to stay here more than likely. But, gentlemen, what we've all been waiting for, talk about all day. So about like hour and a half ago, Cincinnati drops us with another bomb on us. They have pulled Ray Gaddis out of retirement, and he is going to be part of FC Cincinnati next season. Absolutely wild. I'm honestly baffled and shocked. I was in it. I was in a nap. I wake up. I look at my phone real quick, and I see that they sign him, and I'm just like, I do like a double take on my phone. I was like, wait, is this for real, or is this like or is this like a hoax? Like I had no idea what to think about it, but he's going to be part of FC Cincinnati, and it looks like it's a contract through 2023 with an option through 2024, and I think my first question is why? Like, he retired. It seemed like he was happy through retirement. Like, what did Albright say to him to kind of pull him out? Justin, we'll start with you, man. Like, why? Like, what does Ray have to gain out of this?
Initially my first thought was, wait, what? Like, it was kind of one of those.
Seriously,
it was kind of one of those like, wait, because this is real. And then looking back on it, if you remember when Ray retired, and it was kind of sudden,
right?
There were talks about some family issues, which were bringing him home, and he's a Midwestern boy, and I think what happened was whatever family situation must have either finished or got resolved, and with Chris going to Cincinnati, he probably reached out to Ray and said, hey, I'm trying to build something here. At this point, it's like, he's like, well, I'm trying to do what we did in Philly, but here. And Ray's probably like, yeah, sure. Like,
yeah.
He still is, his late 20s, so he still got plenty of years to play. Now, in terms of why FC Cincinnati would make that move, yeah, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, they, did just sign Alvis Powell beforehand. And as far as I'm aware, Joe Zhao is still on the team.
I think they have an option for him, but he's able to hit either free agency or the other, whatever other re-entry, whatever drafts there were for the off-season stuff.
So he's a right wing back / right midfielder, and they were playing. They switched between a back four and a back three, even a back five at times. I mean, they went through the gamut. With back lines. This move really does not make a whole lot of sense for FC Cincinnati, because if you're looking for that veteran leader to coach the young players, I mean, that's why you still have Harris.
Yeah.
I mean, Brendan Aronson said it best when he said that Harris, he roomed with Harris in 2019, and he absolutely helped make him into the professional that he is now. And he learned a lot from him, and him and Ali Bedoya were key in helping to really push him to be the pro he is. So if you're looking for that kind of that kind of person, it seems kind of interesting to sign Ray. But from a outside perspective, this is going to be a very interesting signing, because as we all know, one Jeff Cameron, you know how he leans ideologically, and we know how Ray leans ideologically. So, boy howdy, would I love to be a fly on the wall for locker room conversations between them, because
Jeff better know how to play nice. That's all I'm gonna say.
Listen. He likes to be right. How right? We won't know. But he's certainly proud to be right most of the time.
Justin.
Oh, Justin, we love you.
Man.
All right, you guys ready for this? So, real quick, shouts out to Joe Tanzi, always on it with our uni news. But this is very very interesting. So this is all the members of FC Cincinnati that are who are part of the union organization.
I forgot Mike LaHood was with them.
Yeah.
Austin Berry.
I love it. All of the
No.
2019 Super Draft. Oh my god.
Corbin Bone, Jimmy McLaughlin, Harrison Union, Alvis Powell, Aldonhan Quinn, Michael LaHood, Ray Gaddis. And this is the best part. All the 2019 Super Draft.
Just love it. Love it.
And of course, Pat Noonan and Chris Albright. So I thought we should share that because that is a pretty lengthy list, guys.
Chris Albright's just like, let's take Philadelphia and put it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, I literally don't know. Like, I understand. I've said this. I understand him wanting to build something like Philadelphia. A lot of teams have been trying to implement we call it the FC Dallas or Sporting KC or the Philly mold. Like, there's a certain way for teams that don't exactly have the kind of capital, although FC Cincinnati does have a lot of capital to work with. But like, I mean, seriously, Chris, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, get your own fucking shit at this point. I literally do not understand. Like, I understand you like what you had here, but I'm sure there were people on other teams, like that could understand the same, mentality. I can't think it would have been that bad to work with Ernst. I mean, like, I just don't know what is going on, and like, and the fact that, like, I mean, we know that FC Cincinnati tried to approach the team for Jim, and the team was like, no, like, I'm sure because they're just like, and from what I've heard from certain people, the team's not happy at all that Chris is just plucking people out. Like, this is kind of pissing a lot of people around here off. So I think, this definitely could. I don't think it's going to be a rivalry of sorts on the field, but off the field, I feel like the front office looking at FC Cincinnati going, all right, we see how it goes, Chris.
Yo, Justin, you know the whole motto these days. The motto these days: copy and paste, man. Copy and paste. That's all it is, man. That's all it is. Tim, what are your thoughts, man, on this Cincinnati Union?
Yeah, I've been all over the place with my thoughts on this. Like, every few minutes, I'm either really mad that, like, Gaddis came out of retirement and is going to Cincinnati, and that Albright got him to come out of retirement and come to Cincinnati instead of come back to Philly. And then I'm also like, oh, like, Gaddis could easily be the captain of this FC Cincinnati back four, because it's going to be a 4-4-2 diamond. I mean, we all know that. That's how it's going to look this year. So, like, I don't know. I mean, it could be a good move for Gaddis if like we were talking about, the abrupt retirement last year was more so to help with family issues closer to home, and Cincinnati is closer to home, like Justin said, he is from the Midwest. So maybe his boy Albright and his assistant coach who ran a lot of the training sessions during his last few years there, Pat Noonan, if he's there, maybe that was another factor for him to come out of retirement. And, like AK Gaming says, you probably signed there because of the money, because Cincinnati give people money, and especially players that might not always deserve a lot of money. I'm not saying Ray doesn't deserve money, but he's been retired for a year, and you're bringing this right back out of retirement, and he's at this age where he's past his prime. He still has years to play, like Justin was saying, but you just signed Alvis Powell, who in my mind is a starting right back, as we saw throughout the entire playoff push for the Union. So, what happens there? Are you going to play, the veteran leader, Ray Gaddis, possibly be your captain as your right back, and then have Powell be his backup? Because that's kind of an insult to Alice Powell's year last year with the Union, because he was balling, and I know he didn't get the opportunity to play all the time because Bizo was up and coming, but whenever Bizo was on international duty, or like we saw in the playoffs when Bizo had COVID, Powell's a great right back. He's a good starting right back in MLS. He's won an MLS Cup with Portland. I thought that was going to be his shot, was to go to Cincinnati, be a starter, and now they bring out Ray Gaddis out of retirement, and it's just like, what's your play there, Albright, and what are you trying to set up, Pat Noonan? It just really looks like they want more Union focused players in that locker room to kind of instill that mentality. It really does feel like that. So I understand why Justin's a little pissed, and why some of the Union people inside the Union front office and coaching staff might be a little pissed as well, because it's just like they're trying to really copy the identity of the Union. So I don't know. I keep going back and forth on it. At first, I was kind of mad before I forgot the Ray Gaddis. The reason why he retired last year is for family things. So I was like, he comes out of retirement. Did Ernst and Jim talk to him? He could have had a spot on the Union. Who knows what's going to happen with Bizo? Is Bizo going to ball out at the Africa Cup of Nations because he's going to go play there this next week? And if he plays really well, maybe he gets transferred out, and then there's an opening at right back, which Nate Harrell did a really good job in the playoffs too. But if Ray Gaddis was available, you would think we'll obviously bring back the club legend. But I guess it just wasn't meant to be that way. I don't know. Like I said, my thoughts are all over the place on this. I can't nail it down.
Tim, sign and trade.
Sign and trade. Yeah, maybe Cincinnati signs and trades him back to Philly
for a draft pick.
Yes. There it is. We found it.
I also heard that Sebastian Latou and Shannon Williams are coming out of retirement and going to Cincinnati as well. So there you go.
If Sebastian Latou came out of retirement and didn't say, "I'm the starting striker for the Union because I can score goals," I would lose it.
It is definitely it's hilarious. It's all fun and games, but we'll see how it turns out for FC Cincinnati. And even the thing is look, Chris learned under Ernst, right? Those couple of years.
Yeah.
Ernst didn't bring everyone from RB, Salzburg, and Hoffenheim. He brought, a couple pieces, but he brought the kind of the blueprint of what he did over there, and he brought it over here. And but do what you think is best, Chris, and just stay away from Jim. That's the one thing I ask. Stay away from Jim. Keep away. All right, well, gentlemen, that does it for our Union talk. I figured let's shift over to our league. Because honestly, guys, you guys know my pride as being an MLS snob. And guys, it's been a really good offseason for our league. The amount of signing so far to Europe, obviously it is the pinnacle of the ML or of soccer in general. It's pretty impressive. I wanted to start off with, of course, the biggest signing. And of course, I'm gonna hand this off to you guys, my USMNT guys. But Ricardo Pepi going off to Augsburg over in the Das Bundesliga. I'll also start off by saying this. Love the move. By the way, Augsburg, if you guys don't know, if you've never seen their pitch, it is absolutely beautiful with astonishing views. I definitely check it out and look it up. But I think this is a great move for him. I think the Bundesliga, obviously, we've seen it with American players. Such a fantastic league in general, just for developing young talent. And obviously, Ricardo Pepi's got a lot of hype under him, and I think he's going to go over there and absolutely kill it. But I'll hand this off to you guys. Tim, you can start off here, man. Your thoughts on Pepi now in Bundesliga?
It was the move that was coming, right? He was going to go somewhere. It was going to be a quote-unquote bigger team or bigger league, and I think it's actually the perfect fit for him. It's not a giant club where he'd have to fight for minutes. It's a club in Augsburg that he can probably come in and fight for starting minutes within the first few months that he's there. And I think that really helps the UN's men's national team hopes as well, because he came on and became the starter, and there's 6 matches left in World Cup qualifying, and they're going to need him, and they're going to need someone else. We're going to talk about transferring Daryl DK probably as well, along with some of the other MLS guys to really bolster that attack. And yeah, Pepi's just the guy. He's been that guy since he came into Dallas's system, and huge transfer for MLS, another W. Like they just keep rolling now. The big names in MLS are getting big money in some of the best leagues in the world now. So we'll see what Pepe can do over there. I believe he's there now and completing all his physicals and stuff that he needs to do. So hopefully he gets to get into training soon, and maybe we'll get to see him play in the next few weeks, and right up before the qualifiers start up again, because the sooner he can get back onto a pitch is going to help the U.S. men's national team. And that, obviously, that's my overarching thing here is some of these transfers like, this is a pretty good landing spots. The minutes aren't consistent like they might be in MLS, where these guys are going to start every game. But heading into a World Cup, having a higher or heightened competition for some of these young players that are breaking through at the men's national team ranks is needed. So, I mean, we saw what happened with Brendan Aronson. Maybe that kind of stuff happens to Pepe and Daryl DK as well.
Absolutely. And before I get to Justin, I took a look at those kits, and I have a feeling that Justin is already purchased that kit, man. Justin, did you buy the kit, and what are your thoughts, man?
No, I have not bought the kit, but I think Augsburg is definitely trying to cater to the American market, because if you look at their normal jersey is about $80. The Ricardo Pepi kit is about $130. So they know who they're trying to cater to. But yeah, no, I agree with Tim. I think this move was absolutely coming. I mean, he's balled out everywhere he's been, whether it's been with North Texas and USL, whether it's been with FC Dallas and with the U.S. men's national team. Now, Augsburg definitely came out of the blue because Wolfsburg seemed lined up to make the move. And then Augsburg swept in. And now there were reports which were quickly reputed, that Bayern had financed part of the deal. But that was shot down by a number of accounts. But, Tim talked about that he could fight in the next few months. I think he walks in immediately.
You think so?
And because if you look at the scoring,
hey, I'll take it. Yeah.
They really do not have any scoring at the moment. Like and 20 million, they've never spent this much.
Yeah.
This is a massive sum for them. And I think they're seeing what he can do, and they're hoping that he can feast, because they certainly have good attacking pieces. Like, they have guys that can give service. It's not like Josh Sargent at Werder Bremen, where like he's just not getting service. There's not the guys there that are not going to really feed him the ball. Augsburg definitely has those players. They just don't exactly find the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
And their defense is pretty solid too. I mean, it's not like they're not a good team. It's just they don't have a lot of scoring. Their striking core is a bit, bare. And I think maybe they're going to try to ease him in, but I think they look at what he can do and go, kid, like, I mean, they're hanging in there. I mean, they are hanging above the relegation line, and in the Bundesliga, that can kind of be a precarious place.
Yeah, man. Coming from a Werder fan.
But I think this is a perfect situation for Ricardo Pepi. If he is who we think he could be, this will be the next step. He's just going to keep moving along, and then he'll make a bigger move. And as people say, people joked about the link to Bayern with potentially financing the deal. I mean, Lewandowski's only has so many more years. I'm sure Bayern always keeps an eye open, or Dortmund always keeps an eye open. So if he starts balling out in the next couple of years, I'm sure that fee will start to increase even further.
Yes, sir.
And it's listen, it's only good news for the men's national team, because it's been a long time since we've had a striker consistently ball out. Like, I love Josie, but Josie has always had a problem with staying healthy. I mean, he's scored when he's on the field, But that's the thing, it's just being on the field. I mean, you look back and, it's been a long time since you've had that guy you can go, okay, like we had the Clint Dempseys and the Landon Donovans, the Brian McBrides, you've had the players that can just score at will. And I think to have this group of young strikers in the American pool is honestly, it's a plethora of riches. I mean, you talk about, Daryl DK going to West Brom for almost $10 million, which was, I think, a massive deal even for him. You have Jordan Pefok, who is really balling out for young boys in Switzerland and has started getting a few rumors himself in terms of moving on to a bigger league. So when it comes to the youth men's national team striker pool, take your pick as to who at any point is balling out and who's coming in, and it's crazy to look at, and look at a position that the longest time men's national team fans were desperately going, dear God, we don't have anybody who we can honestly count on. Like, I love Giassi Zardes, but he's just too inconsistent and is not going to give you the type of production that you're going to want. And I think you look at all this young talent and go, okay, I think if we're taking 3 strikers, I say Ricardo Pepi is easily one of the first on the plane to Qatar. Unfortunately, I think Giassi Zardes is that guy, just because he's a Berhalter guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the likes of DK, Pefok. You still have Sargent. It's always going to be in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's going to be a number of guys that are in the mix. And if you're a men's national team fan, I think you got to be pleased. You got to be pleased with, what has happened in the last few years after things looking like very, very dire at one point come not making the World Cup in 2018.
Absolutely. Second, this move for Pepi, the second most expensive sale for the MLS. So it's a good news for the league here. Tim, I kind of wanted to ask you, because we've seen Dallas make a lot of big moves the past couple of years, but we don't see kind of the translation on the pitch for those guys. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of a Dallas fan. Like, is this actually good news for as a Dallas fan?
If I'm an FC Dallas fan, I've been pissed for years.
Right.
They have this quality academy, and they come through MLS and they play well. They won one U.S. Open Cup back a few years ago now. It's been probably over 5 years that they won a trophy, but that was the last trophy they won. And
Supporter Shield that year.
Oh, they got Supporter Shield too. So, okay, they got a double. So that was a good one. That was a good year for them. But then, they're selling all these young players that are like supposed to be their up and comers off. And sometimes they don't even get to see the fruits of their labor. Like, who was it? Was not Reggie Cannon, but their other right back.
Brian Reynolds.
Brian Reynolds came through, barely played. He played like 1 or 2 games, left MLS, and now is balling out over in Europe. Like, that is kind of what it is for FC Dallas. But yeah, no, they don't really reinvest in the first team. They kind of throw it all back in the academy. If I'm a Union fan, I kind of am a little wary of that, because I know that is exactly what happened with Mark McKenzie and Brendan Aronson's transfer fees. It's great to go and invest in the academy that is producing these quality players. And we've seen the Union system is a little bit better than FC Dallas's in terms of results on the field in the last few years. So hopefully, the Union don't kind of fall into that mold of what FC Dallas is doing and just selling and selling and selling and not reinvesting at all in places of need in their ranks of their first team. But yeah, for this move, another move, if you're an FC Dallas fan, you can root for these guys overseas, obviously, because you can say they came from your team. But when your team isn't really any good because those players leave, it's not the best thing in the world.
See, Tim, though, The fact isn't that they aren't reinvesting in the squad. It's the fact that they're really missing out. Like they are missing horribly on the big money transfers that they're bringing in. I mean, Frank O'Hara, Brian Acosta, Mosquera. Like, if you look down the line the last 6 years, they really have missed on a number of large money transfers that they brought in with the money that they've been spending. And, you talk about them selling. Brian Reynolds is reportedly going on loan, could be potentially coming back to MLS because he's not getting any time with Mourinho. And that's another story with, the way Mourinho does it. But I think in the end, FC Dallas is a bit of a cautionary tale of it's not that you're completely reinvesting into the academy with the transfer fees. It's be careful of what you wish for when you're asking for these high value DPs because it's their academies consistently producing, but the front office is clearly missing on, while they're trying to sign these players in the positions of need, they're not remotely what Dallas needs. And it's just consistently adding to the spiral that they've been continuing. And I think that's kind of a cautionary tale of the big money signing isn't always the signing that meshes well with the team. I mean, just look at what Miami's got going on. I mean, Miami's a dumpster fire right now, and they're trying to, get rid of everybody. I know, AK Gaming mentioned it. I mean, they've been making a number of moves. They, traded Lewis Morgan to New York Red Bull. They're potentially getting rid of Blaise Matuidi, who kind of caused the whole, situation they're in. Not his fault, but Miami with all the DP signings. Pizarro potentially going back to Liga MX. Like, you got to be careful with what you're asking for certain teams because it's not always the best situation to have. If you don't have people at the helm spending on responsibly on players that actually work, you can become an FC Cincinnati or an Inter Miami right now. Like it can be a bit of a spiral, and it's it's kind of why, like, as much as I would love a flashy signing, I trust what Ernst is doing because obviously while he doesn't have as much money to work with, he signs the players that work within the union system. And I think at the end of the day, that's for any team, you gotta sign players that work for the system, not just because they're a big name.
Well, Justin, Miami is going to get Luis Suarez, and it's all going to be hunky dory back in South Beach.
Can he do it on a rainy day in Chester?
Higuain got it. So true. And then, of course, Daryl DK is off to West Brom. We've seen him in the championship before, so he's going back, and hopefully he can bring West Brom back into the Premiership.
Same manager that he had at Barnsley.
Yeah, look at that. That makes sense.
So I'd say it's going to be a lot of Route 1 football.
Yes.
Because listen, Daryl DK can get in behind. He is a very physical forward, someone who has some speed. I don't think he when he's got the ball at his feet and he can hold people off, he can get that little burst of acceleration. So I think West Brom definitely has the wingers that he can, someone that you can hook the ball up to and also play off of. He definitely does do that pretty well. And I think, right now West Brom is in the thick of the playoff hunt. They were at 4th or 5th last time I checked. And listen, he's, I knew Orlando wasn't going to get $20 million for him. Let's be honest. That was never happening, and Orlando kind of almost, hurt their own, stock by potentially holding on to him longer than they should have. And I think if they would have been smart, they would have gotten more money for him if they sold him in the summer.
Yeah.
But I think overall, Daryl DK is another player that could be featuring for the men's national team in the next few months, and I think this is a great move for him. And I think, as far as I've seen from Orlando fans, they, it kills them because he was a damn good player, but they know what it means.
Mhm.
Lost a lot, Justin. Mueller, DK, Nani. I wonder what that team's gonna look like next season.
I mean, they'll be playing in Florida. That much is that much is certain. What it'll look like on the field, who knows?
Dude, Daryl DK, listen to this, guys. This guy is built like a freaking NFL running back. 6'2", 220 pounds, man. That dude is
like, if you told me that, like, if you looked at him and just like, you're like, oh, he's a linebacker, right? Like if he was running at you, tackling you, he'd annihilate. You're like, oh wait, he's a striker. You're like, oh my god. And then you look at what he does on the field, and you're just like, he puts that ball in the back of the net. Like,
yeah,
he puts some power behind it. I find it. You don't have many strikers who can hit the ball with as much ferocity as he does.
Yeah, dude.
My man is built like a brick shit house, and goddamn, what I wish I had even an ounce of that muscle, just because, like, God, like, you look at that man and just go, holy shit, that is a amazing striker. Like, I just it just blows my mind. Like, what are we putting in the water in the United States? Like, we need more. We need a few more Daryl DKs. Like, let's like I said, let's see the water in Chester. Like, what do we got going on here?
They're
and where
definitely
can we
coming,
find more of him?
They're definitely coming here, man.
It's that whole thing of what if our best athletes played soccer? That's what Daryl DK is. That's what Daryl DK is.
The LeBron James of soccer. No, I'm just kidding. But Tim, I wanted to ask you now. For us growing up, I felt like on this side of the planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, a couple prospects were always like the top selling leagues, right? But I feel like little by little, MLS is becoming a bigger league. Like, I feel like Brazil and Argentina are like, overpricing their prospects, and some European teams are like, is it really worth it? But you got these kids who are developing in some pretty sturdy youth academies. In your opinion, man, like, can the MLS be the top selling league on the side?
I mean, that's kind of their goal. I mean, their goal was always to be a selling league, and Don Garber has said so many words on that without really saying what that's going to look like, and we weren't really sure what it was going to look like. Then you see, stuff that happens like with Alphonso Davies, and even like a player like Miguel Almiron coming into MLS and then going out to Premier League, and now we're seeing it with young U.S. players as well, getting the chance to go to Europe. And AK Gaming just said MLS is better than Liga MX, and you can't say I'm wrong, and I'm not going to. Like, at this point, I mean, the quality on the field might still be a little different. Liga MX still keeps winning those games against MLS teams on the field, man. But in terms of off the field stuff and selling players and being a league that is now a place where some of the the big 5 leagues across the world are coming to poach some of the younger talent in MLS. That's going to get MLS's name out there and the MLS clubs' names out there, and that's what we're seeing now. So I think to your point, that MLS could easily become the top selling league on this side of the world here. But I mean, there's still a ways to go, I would say, but it's kind of trending that way for sure.
Absolutely. While Mexico, Brazil, and Argentina are getting greedy, MLS is like, we got some good talent here. Let's talk. Let's talk some business. Let's talk. All right. So today, guys, I wanted to end with giving a big congratulations. Of course, Justin knows very well. I want to say congrats to Sporting Serotonin, man. Hoisting the cup. Congrats to those guys, man. I love it. I love seeing it, man. Big friends of the podcast. And a great job. Any words and representation of Sporting Serotonin, Justin? Obviously, I know you weren't there on.
Yeah, it kind of killed me. Obviously, still recovering from COVID. Unfortunately, I could not be there. But Paul, he I'm proud to say that he served well in net. And it's a good group of guys. It's we've kind of over the last since the fall really kind of get an identity of how we want to play and how we kind of want to really approach things on and off the field. It's a team that I am so proud to be a part of because we preach a good message on and off the field about positive mental health and being okay to not be okay. And honestly, I'm proud. I'm gonna be proud to rock those kits because that goalie kit. I've seen a few people been complimenting on the fact that I had a pretty big hand in that. Makes me proud to rock that. I gotta say is I hope everyone gets their their orders in because the window's closing. I believe you have until the 10th to order the jersey. So if you want in on that, you can either contact myself or Paul Catrino and get a hold of or just look at the Sporting Serotonin Twitter page for that link. And for those who will be on the team, welcome, and we'll be glad to have you. And for those who want to, we'll be posting where our games will be, and we hope you show up rocking your Sporting Serotonin gear.
Absolutely. Sports Serotonin, great friend of the pod. Tim, you got something to add?
I can't wait to get on the field with you guys. Like, I'm going to join the team in the spring here in March. And yeah, I started running this week, guys.
Yes.
Again, I'm getting back into it. I'm hurting, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, COVID's not been the body aches were real. I haven't been doing my usual walks. Been taking a break this week, just trying to recover. But yeah, no, come next few weeks, I'm going to be starting to get a little more on the field and just kind of really getting back into been getting back into the swing of things the last few months. So it'd be nice to really get back on the field and really start trying to get things situated.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time, man. And real quick before we end, just to add to one of Paul Catrino's favorite people in the world, Ray Gaddis. Something I just found while we were talking about stuff. Cincinnati.com writer Pat Brennan actually got to sit down and talk to Ray about the move. So I just want to read this Ray Gaddis quote real quick. It kind of explains as to why he chose Cincy. Something we kind of already knew, but he said Chris Albright having been in Philadelphia for a while and me having a relationship with him, but also Pat Noonan. We were just kind of had a couple conversations. He said, I know I want to get into the front office space in various capacities. So they're talking about that and how they're setting something up that's similar to the Philadelphia Union. So that was sort of his choice as to why he came back with Cincinnati. Of course, him being a Midwest guy, he kind of goes on about that. And then that the idea was more intriguing because it's, he gets to represent where he's from in the Philadelphia Union style. So that was, an ad-libbed kind of quote there from Ray Gaddis as to why he chose FC Cincinnati here.
You missed the last sentence. He also said, because Paul Catrino is not a fan of FC Cincinnati.
He said, I can't wait to come to the Sub and score a goal and then point to Paul Catrino. That's what he said. That was the end of the quote. I didn't want to put it in there. I didn't want to say it, but that's it.
Awesome stuff, guys. Awesome stuff. Hey, these off-season pods are always fun, guys. We get to talk about a lot of shenanigans, and it's always great. So I appreciate you guys. We'll be back at it again next week, as always, guys. Hopefully, we have some more Union news to talk about. If not, we will find something to talk about. Even if it's 5th division German soccer, we will talk about it, guys. All right, I'm just kidding, guys. But thank you so much for tuning on in, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe. We always put these lives up on El Parcero Phillies YouTube channel, and also make sure you guys are subscribed to PSN Radio, as we always put all the podcasts on there, and you can find all of your favorite Philly Sports Network podcasts on there as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Justin Balds out of retirement, Freiburg. That is Tim Lovinguth. Of course, I am at Barcelona Philly, and we're telling you guys to do on. We'll talk to you guys next week.